Da, 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 da. And it would just jump to like different sounds. Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and you're watching, listening,
Experiencing.
Experiencing. 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar, buying, selling, modding, trading, fixing, reviewing, breaking, playing podcast.
Experience the hum. Happy 255th episode, Steve.
Thanks, Ryan.
We're 5 episodes away from an even 5 years.
We are at the episode number where we actually can't make any more episodes without expanding out our memory slots. We've reached the maximum number of episodes.
In our brains? Are you talking about like on Podbean?
Do you remember like on old computers how like everything is like maxed out at like 255? Like
No.
you could never have like 256. Like it was a big breakthrough when you could like
get over 256.
Get to like 256.
You're talking about like hard drives and stuff.
Yeah,
from
like all that stuff.
From like the 90s.
Yeah.
Like they had this imaginary cutoff line. Like you couldn't do more than 255 of
Yeah,
anything.
I'm pretty sure like even our like IP addresses only go up to like 255. I don't know why it is. I'm
not nerdy enough to know this.
When I saw that we were doing 255 and 256, I was like, oh, 256, that was like that's the color scale that SimCity 2000 prefers.
Oh yeah, it's like 256 million or something like that.
Yeah, so no, it's just 256.
No, but I remember like getting the first computer that was full color and it bragged about having like 256 million colors.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Why is that the magic number?
Has to do with the number of like, it has to do with the amount of like processing it can do.
Huh.
So yeah, it's like video games. Originally like the first video games were like 2-bit color. So 2-bit color was just 2 colors. Then like
welcome to this guitar podcast, everybody.
8-bit color gave you like 60. I think that was like 64 colors.
Yeah.
And it's all like 64, 128.
We had this computer that was 16 color.
256. Yeah, 16 color. I played a bunch of 16 color games back in the day.
I mean, like the computer itself was 16 color. Like you could not display more than 16
right.
colors on the computer.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. There was a setting in Microsoft Paint. Like it was the first Microsoft Paint ever. There was a setting where you could draw in like flashing rainbow and it would flash between all available 16 colors. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I spent a lot of time freaking myself out with that. It's a good thing I'm not epileptic. It would have certainly put me into a fit. What's new, Steve?
I've bought some things.
Yes, you did.
I posted in the group already. I bought a DoD Rubberneck delay.
Yeah, I almost feel like you should save that for next episode.
Well, too late. Well, I haven't received it yet. It's shipping.
Sure.
It's supposedly shipping. And then I bought this. I'm just gonna open it. We won't say what it is.
Okay.
Just stall for like 10 seconds.
I'm gonna say like, if I was in a position to buy delays right now, I would be all over those Rubbernecks. I just have too much stuff coming in as it is. Steve is opening up a case behind us.
You've been doing all these reverb shootouts, and I think I need to bring like all of my delays over sometime.
Yeah, let's have a delay
I'm up
party.
to like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I've got a bunch over here too.
So,
are you going to hurry up, Steve, and unbox this thing?
I don't want to drop it. I don't want to break the net. I don't want to break the headstock.
There it is.
This is the person I bought it from. I got this off of Facebook Marketplace.
Steve is holding a Les Paul, everybody.
1993 Gibson Les Paul Studio. I looked into it. It's actually a Studio Lite. So this was like right when from what I understand, this is when they were like trying to figure out how to do chambering and different like Swiss cheesing ideas. What are you doing? Ryan's trying to balance his guitar on like one finger.
It's very light. I will say that.
Yeah. So I guess what they do is they at the time they like Swiss cheese the body. Well, actually, I don't think they Swiss cheese it. They just cut out the center, and like the center block underneath the maple cap is they call it chromite, but it's basically balsa.
Right.
And from what I was reading, balsa is actually like a decent tone wood, but it's so soft that you can only really use it as like a resonant filler. You can't make the outside of the guitar out of it.
Sure. No, yeah, you'd have to have a hard resin finish over balsa to protect it with like fiberglass.
Yeah.
Like that's what they do with surfboards. You have
Oh,
to fiberglass over
yeah.
it.
So it's ultra light.
Dude,
But
balsa is incredibly soft. It's just super soft.
so this guitar originally would have had a Gibson 500 T496R pickup set. This one was replaced with the Seymour Duncan hot rodded humbucker set, which is the Jazz JB combo. The JB and the bridge is super hot. So I'm either going to have to, I think I'm going to leave it where it is. I think I'm going to bring the neck pickup up a little.
Yeah, it's a little low.
Just because I think I need a little more balanced output. But man, this thing plays like
It's butter.
sweet butter.
It's a good score, Steve. How much did
Yeah.
you pay again?
I paid $550.
And what's like the normal rate for these?
I found a few on eBay and Reverb that were listed between like $800 and $1,000. So it's in that price point of like where my first thought was, well, if I don't like it, like maybe I'll just flip it.
Sure.
But the reality is
I mean, it's also that price point where you ain't never gonna get it again.
yeah, and I've played other Les Pauls that would be on like Craigslist or whatever.
It's like, what do you want? Do you want to make $300, $200, or do you want to have a Les Paul?
Exactly, and I think I'm leaning very far in the direction of I just want to have a Les Paul at this point. So yeah, this thing is super cool.
I feel like I'd keep it.
Yeah.
'Cause
the one thing that's kind of a trip that you noticed right away is it's kind of got the, what did you call it, marine?
Yeah, like a marine plywood kind of boat.
So it's a three-piece maple top, but it's three-piece flame maple, which is kind of like a
it's just
trip.
that flamey amber maple, you know.
But-
Steve actually, when he was showing this to me earlier, he played the riff to that 311 song about amber being the color of your energy. And it's like, Steve, did you learn that song just to do that joke right now?
Last night I was like, actually on my way to pick it up, I was like, I gotta learn the amber riff.
You kind of nailed it too. I'm impressed. I was impressed. I am impressed.
I spent a lot of time. I spent a whole at least like 5 minutes trying to figure it out.
He's dedicated to the joke, guys. He's dedicated to it. That's a great score, dude, and that's a cool guitar. I've been thinking that I really need to get something with a Les Paul quality to it around here, because I've got just a ton of Fender-y stuff. Like everything I have is pretty Fender-y. Even the Explorers and Flying V's I have are Fender-y.
I should add this too, because this is a value booster, I guess.
Got the OG
It
case.
comes with, I got it with the Gibson case.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I mean, it's a value booster. I think it's more, things like that are more of like a sale booster. Like, yeah, it adds value to it, but like you could probably sell the guitar for the same amount, but someone sees it and like, oh, it's got the case.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick that one over the other one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where I mentioned like, oh yeah, you could get like a Les Paul faded or something in the
Sure.
same price range. But those,
I'd rather get that over faded.
And those don't come with the case.
That thing feels
Those came with gig
great.
bag in gig bag.
Oh, that came with a gig bag?
No, the faded.
Oh, the fadeds did. Yeah.
Yeah, they came with that Gibson like padded, like thick padded gig bag.
Yeah.
So this is
Where in
pretty
town
cool.
did you have to drive to get that?
Like City Heights?
That's not bad.
No, it was actually on our way because we went to the zoo afterwards.
Nice.
We went to nighttime zoo. So yeah, picked that up. Went to the zoo. It was like rattling around in the back of the van, and the whole time I'm like, I should have laid it flat. I should have laid it flat because it was like on edge. I was like, every time I like hit the brakes, I was like braking super slow.
I'm going to need a blade to get
You
into
are going to
this.
need a blade. You got a safety knife over there,
Yeah,
a
I'll
box
go get
cutter. Don't slice your hand off. You can't. Does the wax not peel? It's not going to peel. It is not very appealing. You need a sword, man. That's what you need. Anyway, I'm super excited about that. I got the DoD Rubberneck coming.
I want to say those Rubbernecks are so fantastic, and you got it for like €100, right?
Yeah, I got it for $95 plus tax. So
I wish I could justify getting one of those right now, but I've got too many delays in right now as it
gotta
is.
sell the other ones.
And it's not like, I mean, obviously these companies are clearing them out right now,
Yeah.
so it's not like I can keep buying one at that price forever.
well,
and it's not. And the other thing is like, it's not like I can buy one. It's not like they just came out. I can buy one, demo it, and get a lot of clicks off of it.
Right.
It's already out. The cat's out of the bag. People already know everything about it. So it's Like there's just not a reason for me to
Yeah,
get one.
the speculation is that DoD will probably completely kill that line in the next like 6 to 12 months.
I was having the thought the other
worst
day,
case
like,
scenario, if I get it and I'm like, I like it, but I got these other delays I still like more, like I definitely think reselling it for more than
I think you're going to be able to flip it in a couple of years.
$95 is going to be pretty easy.
Yeah,
I
I think
don't
people are going to want that delay pedal in a couple of years.
And I don't necessarily think that's a thing I'm going to want to do because the hype around it, like I remember really liking it at NAMM, and that was with a prototype.
Yeah,
That
and the
was
prototype wasn't fully dialed in yet.
Yeah, that was when it like you would like turn up one knob a little
It smells great.
too far, and it would just start freaking out.
Yeah.
And you're like, They're like, I remember them being like, oh yeah, we still got it.
Did you see? Do you follow Tom from DoD on Instagram? He made this post today. He's a lovely man. The guy who used to be the head of DoD up until recently.
Yeah.
He was sent the prototype of the DoD 250.
Oh wow.
From the original owner of DoD. I would just die. I would just die if that was sent to me. But he was sent it as like a gift, or like, here you go. You need this.
This is the Surly Brewing Company Darkness Russian Imperial Stout. This was sent to you by your Inner Circle Secret Santa?
Yeah, my Secret Santa. If you join the Inner Circle, we do 2 Secret Santas in the year. We do Christmas, obviously, and then we do Christmas in July. That's part of my What's New. I was sent, it was Charles Gibson, right?
I don't know, man. It's your Secret Santa.
I think that was the guy. I'm sorry if I messed that up just now. He also sent me this Damp Echo, which is a tube-powered delay.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I haven't even sipped it yet. It's 3 knobs. It's a foot switch. It's a great big metal box here. It's just wild looking. I've been talking for years about putting together an all big pedals board.
There you go.
I've got a big delay now. So I've got a big delay.
Well, you've already had the Mystery Brain. That's a big delay, too.
That's a big delay, too. But I don't know if that counts because
it's a double pedal?
Because it's a triple pedal.
And
it's technically a double pedal, and then one of the buttons lifts something. But I do use 2 delays when I use my worship board. I've got the big fuzz up there with the Kyber.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Kyber is really your only single function big pedal.
I've got the big reverb down in one of those drawers there. The that's kind of big too. I've got the King Spring from Dan Electro, which is a big pedal. So I've got 2 delays. I've got a fuzz, and I've got a reverb. I've also got the Palisades, which is like a big overdrive.
Is there a spring in here?
There is a spring in there.
It seems like they talk about this pedal on Guitar Nerds once a month.
Yeah.
And one of them is like, no, there's a spring. And the other one's like, no, there's not.
There's a spring in there. I've opened it up before. I think the springs are only like this big. It's not like they fill the whole thing with springs. So this thing is interesting. I'll do a video of it sometime soon. But yeah, Inner Circle, Secret Santa. It's a lot of fun. What did you get from Secret Santa? I
got a Walrus Audio Julia.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the Julia is a great pedal.
Yeah. So I know I'm stuck on the table, man.
That's good.
I borrowed yours a while ago, like when we first got it from Walrus, and I remember
that's a stiff beer. That's good.
I remember liking it, but I don't remember like a ton about it. And I feel like I've kind of gotten to a place where I'm. I've talked about this with like wah, and Chorus is definitely another one where it's like, I think I need it, and then I get one, and I'm like, nope. And then I'm kind of like back in the space where I'm like, maybe I should need to try Chorus out again. So it was perfectly timed.
Yeah. Well,
so thanks, Greg, for that.
The Julia is a great pedal to have around where you're really not sure. Like, do I want chorus? Do I want vibrato?
Right.
And how much chorus do I want? Because you can dial it really super slight if you want. And it's a really great like chorus vibrato discovery sort of pedal where you can kind of like dip your toe in and experiment with a little bit and not worry about going full bore chorus with it. Like with like the Third Dimension or the Dimension C or something like that, where it's just like full on 80s power grid, laser graphic chorus. Do you have any? I did a ridiculous video with this Death Sauce here. Yeah. Almost died. You can see the oil at the top there. Look at that.
Part of me wants to try some on a chip.
Ooh,
But
Steve,
I also,
you don't want to. You're not going to be able to recover from this.
I also cracked my lip open today.
You would die right now.
Somehow. So I guess that's out.
This is bad stuff. This, I don't know why they put it in bottles this big, but I did it.
You only need like a drop.
Oh man, you know those little tiny Tabasco sauce bottles that
Yeah.
people like you get in like travel kits or whatever?
Right.
This needs to come in a bottle like that, like half that size.
Okay.
Like this is way too much. Oh, completely ridiculous. But I did a video where I completely rewired my board with the Walrus Phoenix because my old power supplies were going dead on me. My old
Right.
K-line was
Yeah.
dropping channels. Like every now and then,
Weird.
like a new channel would just pop on it. And I'm like, I guess I don't have that channel anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I've been running a
How
lot
could you
of...
tell? Like
It
you're
would just stop working.
like would the light not turn on or?
No, the light would stay on, but like that
You
channel
just-
would just not deliver power anymore.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Or no, what it would be like, there would be certain digital pedals that I'd plug into it and they would just sit there and flash and be like, nope, can't work off this anymore. So I've been using more digital pedals that draw more milliamps and I think that cooked it. So, oh well. But yeah, I put that board together. Went together really nice, lickety split. I think I want to get a right angle IC plug for it because it kind of like barely fits underneath there, and it's got the IC plug sticking out the back. If I could save like an inch, I could get a little bit more room out of it.
Right. You need that. Well, I mean, I guess that's like the upside because I'm gonna have to figure that out soon too. With my pedal board because right now I'm using a pedal train which has like the holes in the front that's designed to run a power cable through, but I'm thinking about changing pedal boards again in the near future. And if I do that, I will have to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't think with the board I will be using, I'm going to just bore out like a 1-inch hole out of the front
Right.
of it. I will need, or like a 1.5-inch hole. I don't actually have a boring, like a saw bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
A circular saw, but it's like on a drill. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a circular saw. It's a bit.
Right.
It's
A
circle.
circular saw is a completely different tool.
It's a hole cutting bit.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bits.
Yeah.
Bits.
Is this a bit? Is this a bit?
No, because there are no jokes.
A bit? That's
All
true.
right.
We've been surprisingly joke free for about 100 and something episodes now. We decided
Probably more.
no more jokes.
Probably more.
It's all serious all the time. No more idle banter. Just
All right.
serious content.
So this first Addison Twist by Tyler Aldridge. It's a Big Muff Pie with 3-band EQ, Mini Bomb, Fuzz Factory, Tube Screamer 808, Green Ringer clone. It's it was on Reverb. The original asking price was $120. It sold for some amount. It has 5 switches on it. Literally, let's read it. There's so
I don't
much
know
to
even
read.
how you would operate this with your foot. There's no way you're ever going to get
Skinny
to that
foot.
middle switch.
You just got to come at it from the top. Like, you got to think in 3 dimensions here, Ryan.
You got to be a tap dancer to get that.
This is a multi-effects clone pedal I made using the enclosure and guts of an NYC Big Muff. It goes boost to Tube Screamer to Big Muff with diode switcher and 3-band EQ, Fuzz Factory to Green Ringer. All circuits were done on strip board using tagboard effects layouts, except for the Big Muff, which is EHX's board, and the 3-band EQ, which is a PCB from guitarpcb.com. The boost is Tim Escobedo's Jet Boost, or as most people would recognize as JHS's Mini Bomb Boost. I love Escobedo's original circuit. The trimmer is there to bias the JFET, but you can play around with the trimmer and get a more or less aggressive boost sound overall. It goes from really nice low sparkle to harder hitting gritty sound, and that is awesome when pushed into other overdrives. I have a standalone pedal on my main board that I almost never turn off. The JS808 is that. Standard Tube Screamer sounds, no frills. I love the Big Muff so much more with the 3-band. It really opens up the sound for me, and I like it so much more with the mids. The circuit I can see that. Like, I think that's what I don't like about.
Mid control on a muff is a beautiful thing.
The circuit becomes really loud without that original tone stage. I don't know if that's for real because there isn't a transistor stage loading the signal down. If I just imagine it being so, but the circuit overall is at unity at 8 or 9 o'clock. The diode switcher is pretty useless in this build, mostly because of the removal of the tone stage, I think. I've had other Big Muffs with this mod, and the difference was night and day between silicon and LEDs, like I have in there right now. Fuzz Factory is insane, and that's really the only thing I have to say about it. Great fuzz tones and great squeals. It can do whatever floats your boat. Please note, this circuit is unstable. It will give you squeals, oscillations on certain settings. In some cases, if you leave it on a crazy setting, it can influence the bypass setting because of how this pedal is wired on the inside. I try to keep the interference to a minimum, but it can happen.
Because of how this pedal is wired on the inside, I bet this thing is just pristine inside.
Yeah.
Just the cleanest wiring you've ever seen on this disaster of a pedal.
And then the last circuit is a green ringer. It's a nice volume boost with a great doubling effect that gives you an octave up, especially higher up on the neck. Stack of Ds before to create a more pronounced effect. If you're interested in this pedal, please make sure you have an acceptable power supply to run it with. Isolated. I tried to minimize all potential power problems, but because of the way the insides are laid out and the circuits involved, interference could happen if you're running dirty power. I run it on a True Tone CS7 and it operates excellently though. Feel free to message me any questions. I cover all the pedals with a warranty. If the problem ever arises, that is a result of my work or even just normal wear and tear that take place.
Wait, this guy builds he builds these to sell these? This isn't a one-off?
I guess. Maybe it's like a one-off, but it's like maybe he like builds them and lists them.
Maybe.
I wonder if this thing is still, if there's
That's bananas if
if
he's made more than one of these. Because it looks just like an experiment. It looks like this guy's like, well, I need a box to put this other circuit in.
Right.
I'll put it in with this too.
Because the Big Muff Pie is still there. Like it's just modified.
But that's what I'm saying. There's plenty of extra room in those Big Muff boxes.
Yeah, I'm not.
So he could be
I'm
like,
not going to be able to find this guy's store right now.
I bet he could sneak another pedal in there if he wanted to. I mean, 5 isn't enough. You need to throw in that 6th one. He needs a tremolo, and then this would be a full pedal board as far as I'm concerned.
I do have questions about the thing he says about the power. I imagine like, yeah, if you're running dirty power, it's an issue, but I would think any like standard guitar power supply should be fine. Like I don't
know. All these things are running through the same ground. I'm not an electrician, but I just imagine that this thing's a disaster when everything's running.
I guess I'm just thinking like if he's running one line out.
The fuzz factory part of it bleeds into the bypass signal.
Right. But so that's an issue that I think is going to exist no matter what.
Yeah.
Like it's your power source isn't going to matter.
You're going to have to run this thing in a looper to use it at all. No matter what.
Sure.
This is bananas. And it just seems like an experiment to me. This doesn't seem like a product that anyone should buy. It seems like someone was learning how to do pedals and build circuits, and this was the outcome of, them kicking random stuff around for 2 years. I gotta say that, I mean, the price is kind of fair though for someone wanting to explore something really bizarre.
Yeah, so
and
like
really
even
over
if
the
you
top.
were to buy this at the original asking price, you would have spent $135 for this.
Just for the oh, you're saying
with shipping.
Yeah, with shipping, the price is right.
I think if I saw this locally for $135, like I would at least like.
It's so weird. You want to try it.
I would at least grab that link and be like, Ryan, what is this, man? What do you think about this? You want to put something weird on the old YouTubes?
Okay, so which knobs are? I'm assuming those 3 little knobs are the Tomb Screamer.
No, the 3 little knobs are so it goes down from top to bottom. So the 3 knobs on the top, everything at the top. So the switch, the volume sustain, and the 3 EQ knobs. That's the muff circuit.
Okay.
The 5 white knobs are the fuzz face.
Right.
The 3 silver knobs, that's the Tube Screamer, and then that black knob is the mini bomb, the boost.
But what about the green ringer?
The green ringer is just an octave. It's either it's an on-off octave.
Gotcha. Okay, now I understand. I mean, I don't accept it, but I understand it.
Right.
Yeah, at 135 shipped. I can't fault this person. He's given a lot of different circuits for the money.
Right.
If someone was curious about one of these circuits, they get the rest for that same price. But I mean, that fuzz factory bleeds through when it's off.
It sounds like it only bleeds through on certain settings though, which is even weirder.
That's extra weird. I mean, this thing's a big gamble.
Yeah.
But if you're a noisemaker, this might be your secret tool right here.
You know, he says if you leave it on a crazy setting, it can influence the bypass. So it might be kind of like it might be kind of like that issue that I have with the ring mod that I just left as it was and haven't revisited, where when it's engaged, I'm like, oh, it works exactly the way it should work. When it's disengaged, there's a very slight bleed into the bypass, and you can like turn the knobs to like on that one, like if you were to like turn the knob to a certain position, like the squealing that's bleeding through would just sound more like standard like single coil noise.
Sure. You mean like 60 cycle hum?
Yes.
The name of the show. Close it up. We're done.
We're done.
We're done. We finally did it. But once you say the name of the show, you can quit. You've released us from this curse, Steve.
Roll credits.
Oh, man. 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we want to get into the topic?
Yeah, Mike Coppin sent this in. He just said, talk about this. It's a Rolling Stone article called Why Mainstream Rock Sucked in 2018. Basically, they over at the folks at Rolling Stone that...
You know, super relevant rock and roll magazine.
Paragon of pop culture.
I mean, we've all just been reading their articles my entire life and been staying up on all the news because they've stayed so relevant and definitely, you know, haven't lost relevancy before I came of age.
I do see where they're coming from in this article, I have to say.
Yeah, I don't disagree with them.
I actually...
After I totally roasted them, yeah, rock sucked in 2018.
So here's the rub. Here's the rub. This is what they're working on.
Rub me, Steve.
Is if you look at the year-end charts on Billboard for hot rock songs, at number 10,
here we go. Give us the countdown, Steve.
Hailing from somewhere on the East Coast that no one cares about.
It's probably like New York City or something.
Yeah, no. So going down the list, the number 10 song of 2018, the number 10 rock song of 2018. Bless those rains. It's Africa by Weezer.
Oh, God.
Number 9, High Hopes, Panic at the Disco. Number 8, how this finished ahead of Africa, how this even made the list, was the Bad Wolves cover of Zombie.
No.
You know, that song that really needed to be covered.
I think I heard that like twice, and then I was like, I never need to hear this again.
Isn't
it like super like...
Oh, you heard it twice
before
you decided you never needed to hear it again?
Well, they played it on the radio, and I just started like changing the station when it come on, and then I don't think they play it on the radio around here anymore, unless it's on other channels.
I mean, they did for a while.
But
I think they played it more on like Rock 105.
Is that the cover that sounds like super like Disturbed, Stainedy?
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically what Disturbed did to Sounds of Silence.
Right.
Is what this song is doing to Zombie. And it's like...
They must be getting played in Middle America.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
getting played on the hard rock channels.
I think that's it. But I mean, they played it on the alt rock channels here too.
It didn't last very long. I think people were complaining about it.
Number 7 is a song called Broken by Lovely the Band. Number 6 is Sit Next to Me by Foster the People. Foster the People was supposed to be a one-hit wonder. Apparently, they
didn't get the memo?
One-hit wonder. Yeah.
They didn't get the memo, and they just kept going, huh?
Well, so they were the ones that did, what was the name of that song? Pumped Up Kicks.
Right.
You know what song
I like that song.
You know what song I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so people thought that song's so weird, and it's such an upbeat song about such a dark topic.
Yeah.
That there's no way this band will come up with another hit, and they did.
They did it.
5, 4, and 3 are Natural, Whatever It Takes, and Believer by Imagine Dragons.
Can we just admit that Imagine Dragons is the Nickelback of this era?
Number 2, which I really enjoyed this song, was Feel It Still, Portugal the Man.
How does that song go?
I'm a rebel just for kicks now.
Oh, yeah, I like that song too.
Song.
That's a fun song.
That was me trying to falsetto. That's a bad idea.
That's a solid banger.
Number 1 is Thunder by Imagine Dragons.
Another Imagine Dragons.
I would also like to point out that half of this list are bands loved by Mormons.
Mormons are the tastemakers in this awful year of music. Way to go, Mormons.
Yeah. Thanks, Las Vegas, for producing Imagine Dragons and Panic at the Disco.
They couldn't get the Aquabats on there once. I love the Aquabats. I would love it if the Aquabats had a hit song in 2018.
So one of the things that this list points out is that a lot of like,
are you ready to do a hot take?
Oh my God. a lot of the big hitters, like the traditional big hitters, Foo Fighters, Metallica, et cetera,
Sure.
were all on tour this year.
I love Etcetera's fourth album.
They were all on tour this year, so they were not producing hits.
I bet there's a band called that. I think that's a BS excuse to be like, oh, Foo Fighters didn't put out an album, so rock sucked in 2018. They usually don't put out an album. They can't put out an album every
right.
day,
Well,
every
I don't
year.
think they're saying like that's an excuse. I was thinking what it's saying is
Where were the mainstays?
This is what the state of rock music is.
Without
is that when the basically what it's saying is that
when the legacy acts aren't putting something out.
Aren't there, yeah. Now, I will say like two things, to argue with Rolling Stone is I don't think it's fair. I think to try to put rock in like such a specific box is something
a rock
box, a box of rock, so to speak. Is something that people in their heads they want to do. And even in the article, they're like, oh, rock and roll, like it's about attitude. And, these bands don't have any attitude. And, Believer or not Believer, Thunder, the Imagine Dragons song is number one. It's kind of weird because it's like a clap percussion track. And like, there's basically like, it's very sparse instrumentation and it's a clap track.
It sounds like the song that would come on before the Thunder from Down Under dancers would come on stage. It sounds like a lead-in track for like a performance, right? Like it doesn't sound like this is a song people want to actually listen to.
I thought that song
and
was
also
like,
every single Imagine Dragons song sounds like it was like grown in a lab in a test tube to be the outro music for a movie during the credits. I'm right, right?
You're not wrong. The one thing that I think the article does kind of get wrong is it's saying like, oh, rock and roll music, like Imagine Dragons the music is heartless and
like if Joel Shoemaker made 20 more Batman movies, there would be Imagine Dragons songs on every credit scene.
Yeah. I would say like Feel It Still. I think that's I think the article tries to argue that like rock and roll has to be a specific thing. I think Feel It Still is a legit rock song.
Which one is Feel It Still?
The Portugal the Man song.
How does it go? Sing it for me, Steve. Sing it for me, Steve.
I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again.
Steve, sing to me.
Nope.
Steve,
we're moving on.
I want to hear those pipes.
Oh, man.
I'm not a rock and roll purist. I'm not like, oh, that's not rock.
Yeah.
I actually like a lot of the music that's been getting played on our local alt rock stations.
Right.
Like this very like soulful, like R&B-ish mixed with like EDM, like female-led vocal sort of stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
Like all Lord, like every band that's come out like sounding just like Lord. Like I like that. I think it sounds.
Wait, Lord or Lana Del Rey?
Yeah, exactly. All the aren't
like
there like
churches.
There's like 5 different girls on the radio right now that sound exactly the same.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But I like it. I like that sound. I think it's fun. I don't need my rock and roll to be
Portugal the Man.
AC/DC every
the
time.
singer in Portugal the Man, that's a dude, right?
Sure.
Okay. Not like this is like another Silver Sound pickup situation.
Right, totally.
Okay. I think if you take Imagine Dragons off this list,
I'll be happy.
Take Weezer off this list,
that song shouldn't because it got me. It was on the list the same way like freaking Tom Green's music video was like top of the charts for like 9 months or whatever.
I've been listening to that.
It was a meme. They got played on the radio.
I've been listening to the Panic at the Disco album a lot. I was listening to it this morning actually. I really enjoy it. I don't know if it's rock. Like he's definitely like stretching that a little, but excuse me. And it does have like higher production values.
There's nothing wrong with production value though.
There's not, but it's production value in a way where you're like that song specifically, High Hopes has like a big horn intro and you're like, they're just replicating this. Like they're just playing a track live. Like they're not bringing a horn section. But at the same time, I think to counter this, like you think about some of the big big rock songs of like the 80s and early 90s, rock music has really like,
There's always been stuff with high production value.
well, it's not just that. There's always been stuff that's not edgy.
Yeah.
Like More Than Words.
Every
Definitely a rock song.
every single like,
Definitely played at every freaking wedding in the United States.
every single song in the Police library. Like, is that rock? Yeah, it's rock. Who cares if it's kind of soft?
I think that music's kind of, well, some of the Police songs were edgy for their time, but I'm thinking of like all of like, what's the biggest?
Rock
the
is such a
biggest-
wide thing that it can encompass things that people are not even thinking
Right.
is
Well,
rock.
like
you know?
when you think of the band Nazareth, what song do you think of?
I don't.
Weren't they the band that did Every Rose Has Its Thorn?
Oh, is it?
I think
I
so.
don't think so.
Like,
Maybe. I don't know.
is that a rock song? Who did Love Hurts? Is that a rock song?
They're rock ballads.
Exactly. They're rock ballads. They would have been on the top, probably on the top 10 list for the year they were
rock
released.
songs because at one point all of a sudden you hear and then you hear a solo.
And then Phil Collins comes up through the floor riser. I can feel it coming.
There's tons of stuff that is like classics of rock. I'm not even saying classic rock, but classics of 60 years of rock
Yeah.
history that like are less rock and roll than a lot of these songs are.
Yeah, and to your point about Imagine Dragons, and this was a thing that was in the article, is Imagine Dragons
I would never say that they're not a rock band.
They're a rock band.
They are solidly a
but
rock
they
band.
they definitely do feel very formulaic.
They're just garbage.
And so the person who
I hate them so much.
wrote the article is saying like, oh, rock music, like if it's formulaic, it's not rock music. It's gotta have some
That's
tude.
BS.
It's gotta have some tude because
That's
like,
a false metric to measure it by.
well, you also can't like, you're basically like blaming the guy for the way his voice sounds.
If it was all based on attitude, then everyone would listen to nothing but Link Ray. Go listen to Link Ray, kids.
Or Linkin Park,
No.
kids.
Awful, Steve. That's fake attitude. That's not real attitude. Now who's the gatekeeper? It's me. You thought I was Rolling Stone, but nope, I'm the gatekeeper now. I'm just looking for that keymaster.
If you guys want to read the article, maybe I'll link to it, or maybe you should just
Find it. It's not hard.
like Google Modern Rock
Here's-
is Dead or something. from
Here's
Rolling
something
Stone.
I'm going to say. There's been articles coming out like this for years now, and they probably are right. Rock and roll is dying. Rock and roll is fading out.
I think I wrote an article on my old website like 10
might
years
have.
ago on this same topic.
People have been saying this my entire life, that rock and roll is dying. Everyone who was part of the punk rock movement of the 70s into the 80s thought that was the last dying breath of rock and roll.
Oh yeah, also guitar music is dead. Whatever that means.
I'm going to say that from my perspective, when the radio can't find good stuff to play, this is a time of opportunity.
Yeah.
If you were a creative person, like they're not expecting very much at all. They're not expecting anything. Like you've got this very
I mean, they're playing Imagine Dragons
drivel that they're playing over and over and over again. There are tons of us out there, tons of us musicians who can outdo that, who can get weird and creative and interesting. And now's the freaking time. Do it. Record in your bedroom. Make some really weird, wonderful stuff that is not radio friendly at all. People are looking for that. The people are listening to the radio when they drive to the grocery store, when they drive to work. But when they sit and they really like pick out the music they want to listen to, they're listening to niche stuff now. They're listening to weird stuff. They're listening to super heavy stuff. There are people who have musical taste and are seeking out music right now are seeking out what we would have called underground
right
in the 90s.
Right.
But it's right there. You can find it so easily on the internet, and you can build your own library of tastes. And now is the time to be making the weirdest possible music you can and finding an audience in that, because there's people who are looking for that, and they don't want to hear another band that's trying to sound like radio music.
Yeah.
Because they're done with it. People don't want that anymore. There's a couple bands doing it for the radio, and everyone else is looking elsewhere for their music, and they want it to be different. So that's my little rant. Go make stuff that's very different. And who knows, maybe you'll invent the next genre of rock and roll that will save all this and become the next, beat to the ground, radio drivel.
But, just go make stuff in general.
Yeah, go make stuff. So much of this show is just like talking about the gear. We don't talk about music that often.
Yeah,
But
after tonight, we will only have one song left in the old song file.
Am I gonna have to pull?
What's our 2019? What's our
I
2019?
never
theme gonna
decided.
be?
We never had to hit anything. I'm gonna have to figure out something odd to play after next episode if someone doesn't send us an emergency track.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right, let's move on to the next topic.
Well, our next topic is this week's show is sponsored by Gunn Street
Sponsors.
Wiring Shop.
If you keep that Les Paul,
Yeah.
you're gonna Gunn Street it up.
I don't know, man. I got to think about it because, I do like the traditional Les Paul configuration. But
Just put some splits in there.
yeah,
man.
I just need to open it up and see.
Do the splits.
The JB should definitely be splittable. And that is,
They're both Duncans. They should be splittable.
I'm not sure if the Jazz is a four conductor.
All right.
The JB definitely is because I have one of those in another guitar. And the thing with the JB is it's like a like 14 or 16K output.
That's hot.
So it's like a prime pickup for splitting. Like it's the perfect pickup to split.
Get that single.
Hot single in the bridge. Nothing like hot singles in a bridge.
I think you should go Gunn Street on it if you decide to keep it. And I think you're going to decide to keep it.
Yeah.
You got to sell off like 3 of your rando project guitars that are rotting in a closet somewhere, and then use that to justify keeping that.
Well, so basically, I justified buying this because I sold that Ingve thing.
Yeah.
And then I sold. What did I sell? I sold some pedal. I sold the Fuzz Factory.
Don't you have like 3 weird import guitars in your closet somewhere though?
What do I have in my closet? I have the Telecaster.
You have that bolt-on neck Les Paul thing, don't you?
We just need to light that on fire. It's not worth anything.
Should we Super Rich Steve it?
I think we do.
Someone's been asking us to torch something. In every video, they comment, torch it.
Yeah.
Should we torch it?
I think that's going to be the one. I want to pull. I don't even know if I want to pull the pickups out of it.
Oh, we're going to torch something. We got to find somewhere to torch it.
Don't you have a fire pit?
I do. Yeah, we could torch it in the backyard. Maybe that's what we should do for our 5-year anniversary episode. We should do our drinking stuff and we should torch the guitar.
There we go.
Oh, man, that's going to be fun. People are going to be so pissed because we didn't give it to a child.
Yeah, it's a garbage.
No child deserves
piece.
that. The worst child in the world doesn't deserve that guitar.
Yeah. So I always forget about that guitar.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to help you out so that you make space
Well, the other thing
for this guitar so you can keep it.
I've got a Cort M700 I need to put strings on and sell.
What did the Cort look like?
That's Davey's guitar. He
wants you to sell that?
PRS thing. He wants that thing sold. The thing is I got it from him and I looked at it and the strings on it probably haven't been changed in like, I don't even know, man.
We'll have to figure out some way to get you strings here in the near future.
Yeah, I definitely don't. No, I'm going to use some of my not sponsor strings.
Your cell strings.
I'm going to use some of my garbage strings on that. Not my good Diodarios.
Yeah,
Diodarios. Got to use some garbage brand I have.
Not officially sponsoring us yet. We're waiting on some copy from them. So even though we're in the new year, they're not officially sponsoring
I've got
us
some.
yet.
What more?
Wait, are we still inside a Gunn Street sponsorship?
Yeah, we are.
The logo's been hanging here on the screen forever.
Yeah, so GunnStreetWiringShop.com. Go check them out if you need wiring for any electric guitar or bass or whatever. Or Nissan Sentra, maybe?
You got to hand it to a sponsor that inspires us to go completely down a rabbit trail talking about all the stuff that we need to do.
This episode's also brought to you by Sinusoid. This week we're talking about the Sliver, which is the world's smallest solder patch cable that we know of, that we've seen. It's definitely small.
I mean, we're not going to know if there's anything smaller until the Arctic completely melts and we discover, what's underneath that thing.
Antarctica? Or
sure.
The Arctic?
Yeah.
Which one of those?
One of them.
Which one of those is where?
Either pole. When all
I think Antarctica, underneath the ice shelf in Antarctica is where Atlantis is. That's what I've heard. That's what I read.
I've heard that too. Internet. Steve told me.
10 seconds ago?
So yeah, no one has discovered smaller soldered cables.
And if they discovered it's because it's alien technology. No human.
Ancient aliens brought Sinusoid slivers to us. Go check it out. Sinusoid.com/ancient alien sliver truth. Pedalboard.org.
What?
That's all our sponsors for today?
That is all of our sponsors for today. This next ad was sent to us by Nick Lancaster. It's on my sheet. I don't know why I'm acting like it's not. This is a rare electric guitar. It's so rare that it's being sold for $200. Rare / collector's edition J. Tercer Shark. Hollywood Guitars model JT Shark. Scalloped fingerboard inlays. That doesn't make any sense.
They're just talking about the shape of the inlays.
No, I know. I know.
The guitar's not scalloped.
2 single coil pickups. Super nice. Ready to play. $200 OBO. This
By
thing
2
looks
single
really
coils,
dirty.
they mean there's a humbucker. That reminds me of the time I went to Guitar Center and was trying to buy a Seymour Duncan humbucker from the counter. And I was like, I want to buy this humbucker over here, this humbucker pickup. And the guy behind the counter was like, we don't sell humbucker pickups. We only sell singles and doubles.
I hate to say it, but this actually might be a good price for this guitar.
It might be fine. What do they usually go for?
I'm seeing prices. The lowest I'm seeing is like $250. Oh, $192. But I don't know if that's a J Tercer.
There's
lot
a
of these
couple
are
different Shark guitars
So
out
the
there.
the thing with the Shark guitar is the Shark guitar is just a generic. J Tercer is the only company that happened to throw on like the headstock that looks like a fin.
Yeah.
Everyone else just has like a general headstock. Oh, I guess like this generic Ollie guitars. Ooh, and this one has a Floyd Rose. Floyd freaking Rose, man.
It's like a weird like import novelty guitar thing. You see them all over the place all the time. Everyone who has one is trying to sell it, thinks it's special. They probably like won it at a fair, or they bought it from a pawn shop while they were drunk or something like that. Maybe they play fine. I just always thought they looked stupid. Like,
well, they do look stupid.
the bottom fin, the dorsal fin on the Shark looks terrible. That is an awful fin. Whoever drew this out in the first place does not know Sharks, not the way I do.
How well do you know Sharks, Ryan?
I know Sharks kind of okay.
You don't think Sharks look like that? It's got teeth. Sharks got teeth.
But the fin, look at the shape of the fin. No Shark has a fin that looks like that, unless it's some sort of freaky...
That shark bite with those teeth, yeah.
Some sort of freaky bottom of the Mariana Trench sort of shark might have a fin like that, but that's not a normal shark fin. If you're building a Shark guitar, you want a normal shark fin, and all they had to do...
Well, they got to modify that fin so you can put it on your lap. Different.
No, they don't. You don't have to have a Shark guitar on your lap. Pretend it's like a Flying V. It doesn't need to be comfortable. This is a novelty guitar. I also don't like the face on this Shark where it looks like, huh?
Why is it looking backwards?
Like, oh, because it's looking at the person playing it. Like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, you playing me like a guitar? But I'm a Shark.
All of a sudden, have you seen the memes?
It looks very uncertain about the whole thing.
Like people, it's like they've taken like John Mayer and all these different dudes, and they've taken out
put
the guitar and put a slug.
Yeah,
that's what that made me think of when you're like, the Shark's just looking back there, like, hey,
how's it going?
What are you doing? Hey. What are you doing back there?
What's going on? The Shark looks very uncertain and very uncomfortable with the whole situation. It was like, I think if you wanted to do a Shark guitar, you'd want to make it look kind of badass, right?
Yeah.
This Shark does not look badass.
Well, I don't know.
This Shark looks sad ass. That's one sad ass Shark.
Oh my god.
I kind of feel like I should get one of these and
burn it.
Carve it up a little bit and repaint it to the way I think this Shark deserves to look.
You should just get a big body.
Or I should Photoshop. I'll just Photoshop it.
Photoshop it.
Maybe I'll do a Photoshopping video of one of these guitars. Friggin' $200. Unless you're in a Shark themed band, I'm going to say...
What if you're in Great White?
Bye-bye instead of bye-bye.
All right.
This is a bye-bye, not a bye-bye.
Okay.
Steve's like, can we move on, please?
Ready to do some housekeeping?
Okay, yeah, let's do some housekeeping.
Do some housekeeping right now.
I did make a mess over here of this wax lid.
Good job.
Yeah. Get the broom.
Housekeeping. We got a couple new people. Scott Meldrum coming in at the $1 level.
Awesome.
And Dave Harbor 2 coming in at the $4 level.
Nice. That's the level where we get the most amount of money without having to do anything.
I have a challenge for 2019 to our listeners. I would like to get to 100 pledgers on Patreon.
What?
Our Patreon is patreon.com/60cyclehumcast.
Steve has made a personal goal for you guys to spend your money. Sharona.
Here's what I will say is my plan is to promote the Patreon in every episode and I'll say how many we need.
How many do we need right now?
Right now we need 43 patrons.
And that ain't bad.
To get to 100. Any level. But
we've still got 2 out of 3 branches of the government working for us. And that ain't bad. I don't know why.
What is that from?
Reminded of that reference. It's from Mars Attacks.
Oh, right. And I would say like any level. So like the $1 level, the $2 level, the $5 level, the $10 level,
$25 level,
$26 level.
Oh yeah, $26 now.
I would say like I would like to see a lot of $4 levels as a sign to me that saying, like,
all we need is,
hey Steve, I heard you asked for that $4 level. Here's $4.
That's the Steve level, the $4. How about the level where we stop running a telethon and we let children watch Sesame Street in the morning?
So
instead of interrupting Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers with PBS telethons.
So here's what I'll say is my goal is to promote this, and then once we hit 100, I will only promote it when we get new pledgers.
Whoa! So you are gonna do the PBS Sesame Street thing?
Yeah.
It's like, you want Sesame Street back on? We have to sell more of these license plate holders right now.
Yeah. That's
Steve is.
That's my commitment to you.
This is a threat that Steve
it's not
is
a
making.
Threat.
Steve is not going to shut up.
I would like to see. Look at.
He wants 100. He wants 100.
That's only like 5% of our listeners. That's less than 5% of our listeners.
Yeah.
That's like 3% of our listeners.
It might be 2% or
doesn't matter.
It might be 0.2% of our listeners.
I just think it would be fun. Okay, 100 is a nice big round number.
It'd be fun to hit 100. I'm with Steve. Let's hit 100. I mean,
and I'm not saying
all it takes is 40 something $1 pledgers.
Yeah, let's 43 $1 pledgers. We're at 100.
Hello, you want to pledge $1? Steve, we're $1 closer.
Hey! It's not even about being $1. We're one pledger closer.
We're one pledger closer.
If you feel generous, you can do $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $25. Any amount you want. I'm just saying I would like for that number to be 100. And if you call
now, you get this beautiful set of Ginsu knives.
There's no phone number, man. Nobody's calling. All right.
What about flash a phone number down?
This next topic was sent by...
I'm going to put Blake Weiland's phone number on the screen.
That would suck for Blake.
He'd have to change his number.
His audience is bigger than ours. He could totally retaliate.
I'm fine with it.
This topic was sent
Give
by...
me an excuse to throw my phone away.
Oh my gosh. By Nick Stewart. He wants to know...
Well, this is kind of a weird, like, for lack of a better term, like passive aggressive, like topic.
He says, can you comment on someone's decision to finance their gear purchase, or is that off limits and makes you an a-hole for even bringing it up?
So there was a whole thread on the group yesterday, Wednesday, for people who are keeping track of the times when we record the podcast, where someone was like, hey, I just bought this amp with financing, and it was like 24 months, like 0% interest or something like that.
Yeah.
Like one of these, like Guitar Center, like, please just send us any money situations. And someone else on the group just laid into this dude about taking out a loan, basically, for gear. And the guy basically said, like, hey, I'm going to be buying a new house soon, and I wanted to open a new line of credit, which is something that people do to help, like, bolster their credit score before they do major things like that.
And as long as you're making that payment of like 40 or 50 or whatever dollars a month, like, you don't incur any interest. Now, what the thing with those deals that does suck is if, like, you default on one of them, they like land, like, the interest is accruing. They just don't charge you the interest as long as you make every payment.
Right.
So if you're like $300 into your payments and then all of a sudden you default, you're going to get hit with like 6 months of like back interest, or whatever, like a year's worth of back interest on your loan. As far as like big picture goes, like, I'm not the biggest fan of doing special financing for gear, but the reality is, like, I mean, technically I bought that DOD. Like I do what I would like to call self-financing. Which is to say,
Steve likes to self-finance himself.
which is to say that I'm borrowing.
It's not dirty. It's just money.
I'm borrowing money from myself in order to purchase gear now.
You're borrowing out of your own budget that's for food
And
to buy
rent,
gear.
and rent.
And you'll eat later.
Well, no, it's
You'll recoup that budget later.
it's knowing like I have like expected, like I know like I have a gear budget. And so like the Gibson, right?
Yeah.
I've sold
That wasn't a planned purchase. It came up on Craigslist.
yeah,
You're like, I got to get this thing.
exactly. And I basically looked at my situation and said, you know what? Like if I take my gear budget for like the next 6 months and roll that all back into paying back into my regular budget, I can buy this now.
Right.
So I'm self-financing. Like I'm borrowing from myself. I'm borrowing from one personal budget and dumping it into a different personal budget, basically.
Yeah. You're adding up all that sinusoid, Gunn Street
I was trying
money.
to be delicate, but yes, that's exactly what I did.
I'm like, yeah, in 5 months it'll pay for this, something like that. 5 or 6.
I mean, it'll be, anyway.
The thing the direction I wanted to go was just talking about budget financing in general, and just like this guy took out a loan to get gear with a side quest, basically, to build his credit. And the person making the argument was like, you could have bought this used for much, much less.
Right.
But it's like, I'm kind of in the position and the opinion that I don't know or understand anyone else's finances. I barely understand my own finances. And it's like, I can't like judge for people what they should and shouldn't do with their money. And that's something I've had to, come to an understanding with myself, like doing demos. Like there's a lot of pedals where it's like, I'd never like make the budget to buy this pedal, but like, I can't judge whether or not that's a decision for someone else to make. Like, I don't understand someone else's budget. Like there's people out there who make tons more money than me. There's people out there who need, a product that does a certain thing way more than I need it. And they justify it different ways than I would. To me, it just seems like a topic that's none of my business, whether or not someone can or can't afford something or the way they should or shouldn't pay for it. Cause I don't know what's going on the rest of their life,
I think for me, for like with the example that was of what happened, my take would be like, if someone was like, if the dude was saying like, hey, I'm thinking about getting this amp. What do you guys think about like reverb or is it not like Sweetwater special financing or guitar, Guitar Center special financing or whatever? I'd be like, you know what, dude, like just save up for like 6 months, like whatever. Like you don't really need that right now.
Right.
But
if you're going to open a line of credit, get another credit card and use it for all your grocery shopping.
Yeah. And like, that's kind of like right now, I don't know what I'm getting from, or no, I guess that is what I'm getting. Like, I think I'm like last year I got like $100 back on my credit card.
Okay.
And the idea is like, I'm doing all of my regular spending on that month to month and then paying it all down. And then I get like a percentage, like cash back. Right. So that's the goal. Yeah. And that's building credit because it's like, I use the card, then I pay it off and I use it and I pay it off. So it's like, I'm accruing like, and also like that credit card, they keep upping my limit, even though like,
oh, it's scary.
Even though my, the amount of money that's on the card is like basically static.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty much been sitting at the same dollar value of like, the amount of the float is always the same. It's up to almost like $20,000. I'm like, that's insane.
No, that's mine too. I've got 2 credit cards and I could go blow 20 grand tonight if I wanted to on credit. That's insane. There's people out there who don't have the personal restraint to not do that.
Right. And so I think that's like a big thing is that, understand your situation. I bought my wife's wedding ring or her engagement ring on a 90-day 0% because I knew like, okay, like I can't drop, like I want to get engaged right now,
right?
But I can't drop 300 or whatever the amount was. It wasn't 300.
300,000. Super rich Steve over
yeah,
there.
it's supposed to be supposed to be 1 month's salary, right?
Yeah.
$300,000.
Yeah, $300,000. If you made $300,000, we would not be doing this podcast in my garage.
A month?
We would be
Or
doing
just
it.
$300,000
We would be doing it in the garage of your third home or something like that.
We would be doing, if I made $300,000,
We would be doing it on your yacht.
if I was making $300,000, we would just be doing it in like we would be doing it in Dave Ramsey's like podcast studio. We would just move to wherever
We
the
would
hell in
live with
Tennessee
Dave
we live.
Ramsey.
Yeah.
We wouldn't move in with him.
That's a sound financial decision.
And that's what the podcast would be about. Sound financial decisions.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Dad joke right there.
So anyway, I think
Would you ever take out a loan to get gear? Like what does that scenario look like for you? Like, would you ever, like, for me, if to think about taking out a loan to get gear, it would be like, I need to have this now. I've already got a house. I already did that. I don't need to build a line of credit to do that. I don't have any reason to build a line of credit. So if I was going to buy gear that I couldn't afford and I needed to take out a loan, it would be because I needed it to like, as like a job thing.
right, exactly. I can't imagine that, but at the same time, again, like I can't imagine buying a new piece of gear on loan. But I suppose, like, if I'm being like super honest about it, like, and imagining like the way money actually flows in real life, like I have probably purchased gear with cash.
I'm not talking about buying with a credit card. I'm
And then,
talking
like,
about
later
financing.
Yeah. Would I ever finance gear? It would have to be. I can't imagine what piece of gear that would be that I would be like, I need to finance this now. If I
Right.
like, especially as a non-professional musician.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
Maybe
Can you think of something?
I mean, maybe if you finally went in and got that cower bass, you could finance that. You know?
Well, and like, and some people were talking about like how, well, you should have bought it used and then you could have used like Reverb's a firm, and then you're just basically taking a credit loan from Reverb. So you're getting kind of the best of both worlds. Like you're getting financing, but you're getting it.
But it's like,
you're still getting like a used price on
there's
it.
a whole argument that he could have saved a lot of money if he had gone used.
Yeah, he could have saved a lot of money by switching to Geico.
15 minutes or less is what I hear. Wouldn't it be great if the little gecko walked in just now and this became an official Geico?
Dude, you still have to edit this video.
You mean that doesn't happen in real time? Like, we of all people are all for like buying as much stuff used as you can.
Yeah.
Like we love the used market. That's like the core of the show is the used market. But the used market doesn't exist. People don't buy new stuff. Like
Someone has to buy it.
someone has to buy it. There's a time and a place for buying new
If the
stuff.
new market dried up, then everything that we currently own goes up in value, but we would not be able to get anything new, or like we wouldn't be able, like everybody's used gear would go up in value. So those of us who choose to hoard and like sell things off one at a time, yeah, we would get more money for those items, but we wouldn't be able to
The value of
accrue
everything
anything.
would shoot up and we wouldn't be able to get
Exactly.
more new stuff.
Exactly. New to us stuff.
Right. But like the people who buy stuff new are doing a valuable service for people
Thanks.
like us.
Thanks for eating that depreciation so I don't have to.
I can't ever buy another used Nissan Sentra unless someone else buys a new Nissan Sentra. You know?
Right.
Like those people are doing the Lord's work as far as I'm
Oh my
concerned.
gosh.
They're eating,
That's awful.
the loss on the value of their stuff.
Right.
But then they're gaining, that new experience, that new amp smell. They're the one breaking in the tubes for the first time.
Yeah.
They have whatever.
They're the ones who are putting pink noise through their speaker for 30 hours.
They
to
have
break
whatever warranty there is,
Right.
things like that. They get to open the box for the first time. They get to stick it in their closet in the box when they stop
They get
playing
that
after 3 months,
new
and
instrument smell.
gift a closet classic to their great grandchildren in 70 years.
Yeah.
Like that's where this stuff comes from. Someone has to buy new stuff. It's just what it comes down to. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I don't feel like I have any place to judge anyone else's buying habits or style. As long as you're not causing hardship for yourself or your family with your gear buying, like do what you're going to do.
Yeah. I do want to say that one of the comments in the Facebook group
Here we go.
was that the purpose of the 60 Cycle Hum Facebook group is to talk about used gear, to talk about flips, to talk about New Year Day, to talk about new amp day, new pedal day, whatever. And all of those things
They're not untrue.
are not true. But the purpose of the Facebook group is to support Ryan and I's quest for podcast world domination. Someday, like 50 years
That's
from
not
now,
the way you said it off mic.
Now,
Off mic said the purpose of the Facebook group is for people to worship me, and then flames shot up around him and horns grew out of his head.
Ryan, like 50 years from now, all podcasts are going to be referred to as 60 Cycle Hums.
Yeah, did you check that new 60 Cycle Hum on NPR?
Yeah.
They're talking about a new real crime.
Yeah,
New true
yeah.
crime. That is a good 60 Cycle Hum to listen to.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the new 60 Cycle Hum that Guitar Nerds did?
Yeah. Those guys are, I can't believe those guys are still at it.
Still doing 60
50
Cycle
years
Hums.
from now. Yep.
It'll become an industry term. I feel like I've heard this conversation before. Like
I don't
we're
know, man. This
referencing-
is an original idea that I just had now.
Brand new content from Steve.
Yeah. Should have put it in the news section.
Let's move on and then get out of here.
Wow, I just splashed myself in the face. This
Good
next
work.
ad was sent by Lee Alexander Zelensky. How did I read that without my glasses? No, just kidding. It's Alexander Lee Zelensky. Haha, gotcha.
You think he's related to the Honey I Shrunk the Kids
I
family?
wanted to know if he was related to Dean Zelensky of
Oh,
Dean
yeah,
Guitars.
maybe. That's another Zelensky.
This is a Hall of Fame Mini with kick disc. It's $80. It's the kick disc lets you control the pedal with your foot.
Sure does.
Great reverb and exception control with the kick disc. What do you think about this product and products similar to this?
Exception in air quotes. I love that they air quoted something that they misspelled.
Yeah.
What do I think of kick discs?
Yeah.
It looks awful. It looks just terrible.
You know what it looks like? It looks like one of Leonardo da Vinci's sketches for helicopter. Oh, this could work.
Yeah, totally. Or it looks like some awful like Wild West dental tool.
The one thing that I guess is good is it's got that line on it, so you know exactly where like that's max reverb, bro.
It just
That
looks
thing
like
is all the way up.
you're gonna step on that thing and snap that pot.
Yeah,
in
there's no way.
half.
There's no way I don't break that
And what
the
we're-
second time I try to use it.
For the listeners at home and on the road and in the office that aren't watching the YouTube, what we're looking at here is basically a clear acrylic disc that's got a lot of slots cut into the sides with a little bit like a tooth to it, so that it'll grab the side of your foot.
Yeah.
So you can press the side of your foot against this and roll the knob up and down, which is it's a fairly smart idea in
Yeah.
theory. But it's suspended off the pedal by a post that looks like it's a good 1.5 inches long.
Maybe.
Maybe an
Oh
inch.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would guess more like an inch.
No, I bet it's longer than an inch.
All right.
That's just giving you a lot of leverage to snap that pot. It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
The metal and that makes the post on pots that are in pedals and on guitars is not strong stuff.
no.
It's pretty soft metal. This just looks like ruining a pedal to me.
I'm not the biggest fan of the option knob.
Yeah, like foot
products.
controller things.
But I understand like the option knob sits fairly vertically.
Yeah.
It doesn't take up a ton of real estate. That's the other thing with this is this thing, if you were trying to put together an all mini pedal board, this is going to cover like the two pedals next to this pedal.
It's going to bleed over a lot.
Yeah. It's not particularly vertical. It's also very horizontal.
And imagine this is on a pedal that only has one knob. Imagine this on any pedal that has multiple knobs.
Well, you're only going to put it on, you can only control one parameter.
But that's what I'm saying. If you put it on a pedal that's got multiple knobs, it's going to cover the other knobs and it's going to make it a pain in the butt to adjust those other knobs with your hands.
Oh, right. Because you have to like reach around.
Yeah. So it just muddles up everything. It's just a bad design in my opinion. And this is the sort of thing where we're going to go to NAMM in a couple weeks here.
We're going to meet these guys.
And the basement is full of gimmicky things like this.
Yeah.
There's just every year there's a new brand with a new gimmick. Like, this is it. This is the thing that's going to change pedal boards forever. I've come up with a new little gizmo that is going to like change the game. It's like, really, people have already done this a million times. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, let's just do knobs now, guys. You just bend over and turn your knobs now. Can we just agree in 2019, which it is now, by the way, that we're going to bend over and touch our knobs? 2019, bend over and touch your knobs. Let's make
Is that your slogan? Did you just win the atmosphere contest
I
for
did.
yourself?
2019, bend over, touch your knobs. That's the new slogan for 2019. We're going to get printed on shirts.
There we go.
Bend over, touch your knobs.
Can we just put those shirts in the Threadless store? I don't want to ship them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. This week's song was sent to us by Emily Harris. It's called Armageddon for Bookworms. She says, I do not remember why I named this song Armageddon for Bookworms. Thanks for listening. For Ryan, I'm Steve.
For Steve, I'm Ryan.
Bye.